This year, for cycling's elite, majestic California beckons as a proving ground. As a courageous native son, once invincible on these roads, seeks to return from devastating injury.
All of a sudden you're on the ground and you realize you've been hit, and it's a little bit overwhelming.
And a reigning champion, so impressive a year ago, looks to fend off talented contenders. All who believe the Amgen Tour of California's toughest route ever is the perfect opportunity for a life-changing victory.
As an American, unless you're going to win the Tour de France, you better win the Tour of California.
America's greatest race has thrown down the gauntlet for each of them. Who will rise to the challenge? This is the Nissan Preview Show presented by Visit California. Welcome everyone, I'm Phil Liggett, and this year's Amgen Tour of California promises to be packed with drama worthy of one of the most magnificent landscapes anywhere in the world. From the mighty Pacific coast to the rugged Angeles National Forest, no one has known more glory on these roads than Levi Leipheimer, the dynamic three-time former champion.
I think a very angry man. He's come to the Amgen Tour of California to prove a point.
Yes, there he goes. Third win, he says. Leipheimer was on fire. Which makes Leipheimer's belief that the 7th edition of America's greatest cycling event will be the most difficult, all the more impactful.
This will be the hardest Tour of California yet, because stage 1 and 2 and even 3 are they're not so easy. They're not decisive, but for the classification, but it will split the field, I think. And then, of course, there's the time trial on Thursday, Big Bear on Friday, and Mount Baldy on Saturday. 3 decisive stages in a row. Course-wise, it's the toughest edition yet.
Last year, the only man to finish in front of Levi was his own teammate, Chris Horner. Chris Horner has accelerated here, and Levi can't follow. Chris Horner is the next leader of this tour with a great win. This is an excellent time.
Good ride by Horner there, Phil, and that saved his overall lead in this bike race.
But now the 2011 champion and runner-up are on rival teams.
I think with Levi and I splitting up, we've added some drama. So it'll give the fans at home, it'll give the announcers, it'll give the press some drama. Now they got the young kids coming up and a little bit further into the sport. Levi and I are going at each other instead of with each other. And then, of course, have I recovered 100% from last year's tour?
One of the emerging young riders Horner refers to is Team BMC's TJ Van Garderen, who after a surprising 5th place finish in 2011 has announced his intention to seek an early advantage in this year's race.
If Horner's on the level he was last year, he's going to win on Baldy. So we're going to have to look at these other stages to see where we can get the edge on Horner going into Baldy.
In addition to Horner, Van Garderen and Leipheimer, Team Garmin Barracuda's Tom Danielson, revitalised sprinter Tom Bonen, and many other impressive names will be looking to make a big impact on these roads over 8 stages and more than 750 miles at the 2012 Amgen Tour of California. The race route presented by Visit California underscores the precise nature of the challenge ahead. The more than 750 miles course begins in impressive fashion on the opening day with a 115-mile stage through Sonoma wine country that'll be anything but leisurely as the fastest men on 2 wheels vie for victory on the streets of downtown Santa Rosa. Stage 2 begins in the shadow of the spectacular Golden Gate Bridge before heading south along world-famous Pacific Coast Highway and to the climb of Bonnie Doon before the finish line in Santa Cruz County. Stage 3 departs San Jose, the only city to host a stage in each of the 7 years of the event, and travels Highway 84 towards Livermore in Gold Rush country for a stage likely to suit the sprinters by the day's end. Stage 4 from Sonora, one of California's original and best preserved gold rush towns, where wagon wheels paved the way to today's Highway 49, the peloton will head to Clovis. This is the longest stage of the 2012 edition, with 130 miles that will bring the peloton along the edge of the Yosemite National Park for another fast stage along scenic roads. On Stage 5, Bakersfield's 18.4-mile individual time trial will be key to every overall contender. The riders go from 0 to 60 miles an hour in mere moments across hot and windy terrain before ending with a difficult final climb up China Grade. This foreshadows the bigger mountains ahead on Stage 6 as the peloton heads out from Palmdale to unforgiving Big Bear Lake, where they will climb from 2,700 feet to 7,000 feet. Stage 7 brings the return of the famous Mount Baldy, the race's queen stage, a brutal mountaintop finish which rivals some of the hardest in Europe. This is a day not to be missed. And then finally, a finish fit for a king, departing Beverly Hills' most well-known street, Rodeo Drive, and heading to downtown Los Angeles and the famous LA Live in the shadows of Staples Center, where the public will have its own opportunity to ride the course in the Nissan Ride Before the Pros. In the end, the City of Angels will welcome one triumphant winner of the 2012 Amgen Tour of California at the same location where other champions have been crowned in Los Angeles. This year's 8-stage race will have 6 prestigious jerseys at stake. Amgen Race Leader jersey will be donned every day by the overall leader. The Nissan King of the Mountain will be awarded to the race's best climber. The Visit California Sprint jersey will be worn by the most outstanding sprinter. The Rabobank Best Young Rider will signify the best rider under 23 years of age. The new Exergy Most Aggressive Rider jersey will be for the day's most active rider. And one uniquely special jersey will be handed out at the end of each stage. The Amgen Breakaway from Cancer Most Courageous Rider is awarded not for the fastest or strongest rider, but for the bravest. Last year, those honoured with the Breakaway from Cancer jersey included young American TJ Van Garderen, Canadian rider Hejidal, and former world champion Oscar Freire. And this year, thanks once again to Amgen's support, this charitable component of the race will continue to raise awareness to the important resources available to cancer patients. And every cyclist in the field will once again be sure to target this illustrious jersey that is a worthy goal in the name of a worthy cause. For more information, log on to breakawayfromcancer.com. Coming up, from Santa Rosa to downtown Los Angeles, a breakdown of every stage.
It's really a key stage to win the Tour of California for sure. It's going to be another epic day, and it's going to be a big battle.
Plus, Levi Leipheimer on his recent wreck and his incredible 2011.
2011 was one of the best years of my career.
All ahead on the 2012 Nissan Preview Show, presented by Visit California.
California is a great destination for cyclists because we have it all. I mean, we have the ocean, the redwoods, the mountains. You can ride your bicycle, you can go climbing, whitewater rafting. Anything you want to do in California, we've got it. The Amgen Tour of California is really a moving postcard. From way up north by Mount Shasta, we've got the Sierra Mountains, Gold Country, and the Central Valley down to Southern California.
Visit California. California, find yourself here.
Welcome back to the Nissan Preview Show presented by Visit California. In many ways, 2012 is a sequel to the action-packed 2011 Amgen Tour of California, which began with an unlikely snowstorm and then transitioned into spectacular riding. Very, very fast finish. Ben Swift is going to take it on the line. Well, that's how you do it. Swifty has just got the victory for Sky. And more chaotic sprinting would follow. As Goss comes up towards the line now, Haedo on the left of the line, and Sagan. And it's Greg Henderson who wins it. My goodness me. By the time the racers reached the midway point of San Jose for Stage 4, Chris Horner began to showcase the form that would foreshadow the remainder of the route. He needs every second, but Chris Horner is the next leader of this tour with a great win. 1 year after he impressed with multiple stage wins, young Peter Sagan again showed that he was a force to be reckoned with in the Golden State. Peter Sagan is going for gold on the left of our picture. Sagan gets it. In stage 6, the race of truth was won by a familiar face, Dave Zabriskie. But despite tough pursuit by Levi Leipheimer, Chris Horner left Solvang with his prized possession. Here it is, the yellow jersey all smiles because this is making him feel very happy after a time trial, the one stage he doesn't like, he's still got the maillot jaune on his shoulders. Stage 7 brought the first mountain top finish in the history of the event. And a strong ride by two teammates. And that's the two-arm salute from Levi, the same from Chris Horner, a 1-2 for Radio Shack. An absolutely exemplary ride by these two riders. And then, on the final stage in Thousand Oaks, a rider from down under seized the day. Garcia's getting it on the line. He has done it, he's back in the big time. And the deserving winner was celebrated. 16 stellar teams will compete in this year's edition. 8 UCI Pro teams, including BMC Racing with George Hincapie and Garmin Barracuda from the United States, Chris Horner's Radio Shack Nissan Trek team, and the international powerhouses Rabobank, Liquigas Cannondale and Amiga Pharma Quickstep, led this year by Levi Leipheimer. Not to mention the long-running French squad AG2R La Mondiale, as well as the new Orica Green Edge team from Australia. It makes its debut in the professional peloton. 4 UCI professional continental teams, including Team Spidertech, powered by C10, United Healthcare, August Shimano and Colombian Caldas Portas, who are always strong in the mountain stages. And 4 UCI continental teams, including Kelly Benefit Strategies, Bissell Pro Cycling, American sprinter Fred Rodriguez's Team Exergy, and the development team created by Lance Armstrong, Bontrager Livestrong. Stage 1, presented by Rabobank, brings the race back to Santa Rosa, the home of 3-time champion Levi Leipheimer and world-class cycling. A circular route starting and finishing in the 3-time champion's hometown, the village of Windsor marks the first of several sprints along the 115-mile ride, much of which mimics Levi's Kingridge Grand Fondo, held annually in the fall. It'll be an undulating route with portions along the Pacific Coast Highway, but the peloton should come back together for a furious sprint finish in Santa Rosa. The vineyards and farmland of Sonoma County, as well as the redwood forest of Northern California, should provide a stunning backdrop for the day's racing. The town's most famous cyclist believes it will prove to be a stellar start.
Santa Rosa and Sonoma County have been looking forward to May 13th, 2012 for a long time.
Starting in Santa Rosa is pretty nice. It's going to be on roads that I train on all the time, that I've ridden before, and it really brings the race home.
When the live coverage starts, we're going to be on the Grand Fondo course, 2,000 feet above the Pacific Ocean when we do that ripping descent down Myers Grade to Highway 1. And we're going to show everybody, what Sonoma County is all about, what Levi's Grand Fondo is all about, and kick the Amgen Tour of California off in a great way.
In 2011, Levi Leipheimer had a career year, with 3 prestigious wins in addition to his runner-up placement in California.
2011 was one of the best years of my career. California went pretty well, 2nd overall, stage win. We were 1st and 2nd as a team, so that went well. And then from there, I got better. And Tour of Switzerland was something I'll always remember. Going into the last day, it was a time trial. I was 2 minutes down, but that morning I really believed I could do it.
1, 2, 3. He has lost the Tour de Suisse to Levi Leipheimer, and we are talking 4 or 5 seconds.
It was so close that when he finished, I didn't know whether I'd won or not, and I didn't want to start celebrating prematurely. So there was a few moments of waiting for the confirmation, and that's just something I'll always remember.
Coming off his tremendous 2011, Leipheimer entered 2012 with his new team Amiga Pharma Quickstep, focused on returning to the top step of the podium at the Amgen Tour of California. But a crash-marred start to the season has derailed his plans.
Bob I do not believe this. This is awful luck. This is terrible luck for Levi Leipheimer.
And then on a training ride preparing for the Tour of the Basque Country on April the 1st, it got even worse.
I got hit from behind by a car. It was an 82-year-old man driving, and he said he didn't see me. All of a sudden, you're on the ground, and you realize you've been hit, and it was pretty traumatic, to tell you the truth. I have a broken fibula. Broken bones, you know, they take 4 to 6 weeks to heal, but the fibula is not a weight-bearing bone.
Leipheimer's recovery has been a testament in courage, and as of airtime, he is still planning to be at the start line in his hometown. Also riding for Team Omega Pharma Quickstep are Belgian classic specialist Tom the Tornado Bonen and Slovakian stud Peter Velits. Out of all of the beautiful roads in California, one would be hard-pressed to top those found on Stage 2, presented by Visit California. Beginning at Marina Green in San Francisco at the foot of the Golden Gate Bridge, the riders will head by the Presidio and turn south on the famous Pacific Coast Highway, and then along some of the most spectacular coastline in the world, with 2 sprints en route to Half Moon Bay. And finally they turn inland in Santa Cruz County for the Nissan King of the Mountains assault on Bonnie Doon, which in previous editions of the race has determined the winner of the stage. And this year looms as an important early barometer.
It's the first real stage that will make the selection before we go into the time trial. If it's raining or crazy weather like it was the year that Levi won on that stage, that was the stage where it basically sealed the Tour of California, and that was under really cold, rainy conditions. So if we had those kind of conditions, you could see a very small select group, if not 1 or 2 guys, winning the stage. But on perfect conditions, quite possibly that stage is going to just bring it down to, again, 20, 25 guys at the finish.
In 2011, Peter Sagan dominated the sprint classification, holding the green jersey from Stage 2 all the way through to the finish line in Thousand Oaks, winning the title for the 2nd consecutive season. But this year, he will have fierce competition as he looks to retain the title again. This spring, veteran speedster Tom Bonen showcased a remarkable return to his winning ways.
I've seen Tom Bonen do some wonderful performances, but not one like this. His face is a picture. It is one of total energy for the job in hand.
Long celebrated for his dominant sprinting form, including 6 career stage wins at the Tour de France, Tornado Tom was derailed by bad luck and crashes. In fact, many believed his best days were behind him. But now, finally healthy in 2012, he is very much back to his winning ways. Now healthy and seemingly better than ever, notching spectacular back-to-back wins along the rugged cobblestones of the Tour of Flanders.
Tom Bonen gets it. He becomes the winner again. He joins the elite famous 5 club now as one of only 5 men to win the race 3 times in his career.
And Paris-Roubaix, the queen of the classics.
Tornado Tom has blown an ill wind over the rest of Paris-Roubaix. He equals the record of 4 victories.
Now, as he returns to California, where he has had success before,
Tom Bonen has delivered. He's taken the day.
Look for the powerful Belgian to try to make his mark early. Other riders to watch out for on the flat roads include the Australian Robbie McEwen, winner of 12 stages at the Tour de France, who has announced this will be the final race of his career. Heinrich Hausler for Garmin Barracuda, a Tour de France stage winner in his own right. And Marcel Kittel from Argus Shimano, already a winner of 2 stages at the Tour of Oman this year, and just 23 years of age. This youngster is one to keep your eye on. Coming up, a talented young rider looks to take success 1 step further.
In my opinion, I think I could have come away with a podium. I think you just need to pay a bit more respect to the competitors.
And the reigning champion on how he intends to repeat.
6 weeks of solid preparation, 5 really focused. That's all you're doing.
When the 2012 Nissan Preview Show presented by Visit California continues.
You know, I live in the winter in California, and there's something special about that race.
I can't even describe it. It changes everything.
The American races have a huge amount of importance, you know, to me and to my family and to the people that have supported me growing up over the years.
As an American, You go down the list of who's won it, and it's Levi. It's, you know, Chris Horner. It's some of the best cyclists in the world, not just the U.S.
To be able to go home in a race, you know, in front of your crowd, I feel really fortunate. You know, 10 years ago, guys didn't have the same thing.
The Amgen Tour of California kicks off Sunday, May 13th, when the greatest cyclists on earth tackle the Golden State. The Amgen Tour of California, live May 13th at 5 Eastern, right here on NBC Sports Network. Plus highlights each night. And don't forget, live coverage on the final day, May 20th at 1 p.m. Eastern on NBC. You can also log on to NBCSports.com for daily highlights or AmgenTourOfCalifornia.com for all the race information. Stage 3, presented by Nissan, will begin in San Jose, the heart of Silicon Valley, and then head out on a familiar route over Calaveras Road and Highway 84 to Livermore. But this time, after passing through the town of Danville, for the first time in the history of the race, they will climb Mount Diablo, one of the most revered climbs in California. Then, just 9 miles from the finish, the riders will likely tackle difficult winds as they ascend Peterson Pass Road for the final climb of the day, before descending into historic downtown Livermore, which played a prominent role in California's gold rush history. In 2011, a 22-year-old TJ Van Garderen surprised many when he proclaimed that he intended to win the Amgen Tour of California. But then the bold young rider backed up his big statement with a strong showing that placed him in contention.
I was going in there thinking like, all right, I got the best form of my life.
Van Garderen here is riding himself, if he can, back into the Amgen Tour.
I'm Superman, I can do whatever, and when really, like, no one was going to beat Horner. He was just on another level. He was the man. And once we were on the climb and I saw how strong he was, I should have respected that and thought, like, okay, I can't beat him, but what can I do with what I have? And instead, I, you know, gave it everything to try and pull him back or to stay with him, and that was the wrong decision because I ended up blowing up and losing more time.
Despite the tough stage, Van Garderen maintained control of the Best Young Riders jersey all the way to Los Angeles. This prestigious accomplishment left TJ with the belief more was within his grasp.
In my opinion, I think I could have come away with a podium. I think you just need to pay a bit more respect to the competitors and then, you know, end up higher.
The Amgen Best Young Rider Award was followed by the remarkable achievement of becoming the first American to ever wear the prestigious climber's jersey at the Tour de France. First Tour de France were 7 days in, completed, and he's got a leader's jersey in the Tour. Now you know why we're talking 3 or 4 years and this man possibly a Tour de France winner. Now, 1 year both wiser and stronger, watch for Van Garderen to try and make good on his goal of winning the Golden State's ultimate prize. Riding in support of Van Garderen's quest will be American legend George Hincapie, who should ride in his record-breaking 17th Tour de France this summer. Amazing. And Brett Buckwalter, quickly becoming a Tour de France veteran in his own right. Stage 4, presented by Breakaway from Cancer, is the longest stage of the 2012 race, with 130 difficult miles covered between Sonora and Clovis. This will be the Tour's first visit to Sonora, one of California's most beautifully preserved gold rush towns. From the start, the riders will head south on historic Highway 49 in the shadow of Yosemite National Park. The peloton will encounter everything from numerous Nissan King of the Mountain banners to technical descents and sprint lines in the towns of Mariposa and Oakhurst. Then they will head to the finish line of Clovis, where in 2009 they faced ice and snow. This year, as they celebrate the 100th anniversary of Clovis, hopefully they will receive a warmer welcome. One rider to watch out for in these early stages is Peter Sagan, who in 2010 won back-to-back stages, en route to securing the Best Young Rider Award. As Sagan comes on the right of the road, the yellow jersey of Michael Rogers is not being challenged by Zabriskie. Sagan gets it. And in 2011, Sagan proved that his success was no accident, with an encore stage win and the green jersey. Now, remarkably, just 22 years old as he enters his third Amgen Tour of California. Watch for Sagan to make his move in this terrain that he has now come to love. Also riding for Team Liggett Gas Cannondale will be the Americans Timmy Duggan and Ted King. Not to mention Italian superstar Vincenzo Nibali, who won the 2010 Vuelta a España. Coming up, Chris Horner on his battle with adversity since his impressive win a year ago.
Before I knew, I was back at the emergency room at the hospital and taking care of a blood clot.
Plus, a preview of the crucial Stage 5 time trial, when the 2012 Nissan Preview Show presented by Visit California continues. Chris Horner has accelerated here and Levi can't follow.
Well, it's definitely going to be a whole different game. Last year they were teammates, so the one couldn't attack the other.
Chris Horner is the next leader of this tour with a great win.
Levi was put in a support role.
And that's the two-arm salute from Levi, the same from Chris Horner, a 1-2 for Radio Shack.
But that's going to be a different race, with those two guys competing against each other. It's promising. It's promising for a very spectacular race, and that's going to be an interesting thing to see develop. Levi against Horner.
The 2011 Amgen Tour of California victory was the single biggest accomplishment of Chris Horner's 17-year-long professional career. But even the San Diego resident didn't realize the kind of impact winning would have on his life.
I thought it was big, but I didn't understand how big until when I got home, and you get recognized every time you're in the airport, every time you're walking through the mall, every time I'm riding my bike. I stop at a stop sign and some guy in a car rolls up and rolls his window down and congratulates me for winning the Tour of California. So as an American, unless you're going to win the Tour de France, you better win the Tour of California.
Just months after the apex of his career in Los Angeles, Horner experienced an entirely different result at the Tour de France. This was a massive crash. So there's a number of the big names have been caught here. Chris Horner is also down in there for Radio Shack.
Chris Horner did manage to finish the race. Here's the scene afterwards. Take a listen.
But I finished? Yes. I don't understand that.
And subsequently, an even bigger health scare.
You're looking forward to Colorado. Before I knew, I was back at the emergency room at the hospital and taking care of a blood clot. I had cracked ribs from the tour crash too, and so I just thought I was laying on the cracked ribs a little long, and that's what was causing the pain. It was more pain than I've ever felt in my life, realistically.
Now fully healed, he has demonstrated that he is ready for 2012. And with a return to form comes renewed hopes of a repeat victory. And a return to the form he showcased in 2011.
6 weeks of solid preparation. 5 really focused. That's all you're doing. California will be the #1 goal because it comes first.
Hoping to help Horner to back-to-back wins on Radio Shack Nissan Trek are young American Ben King and fan favourite Jens Voigt, now 40 years young. To track all of your favourite riders, make sure to check out the Radio Shack Tour Tracker, with start-to-finish coverage by GPS throughout the race and current race situation information of breakaways, chases and riders, with maps and profiles including time gaps and overall standings for all the categories. Plus live video coverage of the final 2 hours of each daily race, as well as video on-demand clips of the race and photo gallery of images from the race, free on your computer, iPhone, iPad and Android devices. The individual time trial has always proven pivotal to success at the Amgen Tour of California.
Leipheimer was on fire. He's such a man for the occasion in California. He always delivers, this guy.
Michael Rogers keeps the maillot jaune. That is possibly Rogers' best time trial since he was the world champion. Chris Horner now. This is the day he'll be glad he's behind him. That saved his overall lead in this bike race.
This year, the race moves from its frequent home in Solvang east to Bakersfield, and with this change in venue comes new challenges. In 2010, Bakersfield was home to a brutal circuit for the peloton, as they had to climb the grueling panorama bluffs 3 times. Now, in 2012, the race not only returns, but turns that circuit into an 18.4-mile individual time trial for Stage 5, presented by Rabobank. Out of the start gate, the riders will face an immediate descent to Alfred Harrell Highway, to the turnaround point at Lake Ming, And then, after 100-foot rollers and quite possibly a battle against the hot and the windy elements, they will face the 300-foot bluff and the China grade, an 8% climb where fans are sure to turn out as the climatic finish approaches. All in all, it should be a spectacular route and give the leaders a chance to stamp their authority on the race. Once again, it will be more than just the men taking part in the race against the clock, as the women also join in the action with the Amgen Tour of California as the sport's best compete in the Women's International Time Trial Challenge, presented by SRAM, showcasing many of the great talents that will be competing in the 2012 Olympic Games in London, including the Americans Christian Armstrong and Amber Lieben. Make sure to check out the broadcast that day to see these great athletes conquer their own race of truth. And don't be surprised that this race will have the same drama and excitement as the men. Coming up, an inside look at Team Garmin Barracuda.
2011 Tour de France was a really special experience for me.
The return to Big Bear Lake.
That's really going to separate the people who are there to win the race from the people who are there just to ride the race.
And later, my predictions to win the Amgen Tour of California's biggest prizes, as the 2012 Nissan Preview Show, presented by Visit California, continues. Team Garmin Barracuda climbing to the top of the Tour de France team podium in 2011 was the culmination of years of dedication. And perhaps no rider embodied the team's rise last year more than Tom Danielson, who finished 9th at the Tour de France.
My 2011 Tour de France was a really special experience for me. It was my first Tour de France. Went into it coming off a good Tour of California, was on the podium there, and just went into Tour de France feeling good. The key goal really was winning the team time trial. And that had been a goal really since the creation of the team in 2008.
Despite Danielson's success on the sport's biggest stage, team manager Jonathan Vaughters believes he can climb even higher. And the key to progressing for Danielson lies in taking it one step at a time.
Well, Tom certainly has the physical capability to be on the podium of the Tour de France. There's no doubt about that. And he's had that since the day he was born. Whether or not psychologically he can deal with the pressures of improving from his 9th place to this year and going all the way to the podium, I think that's a very step-by-step process with him. If you can keep eliminating little mistakes day after day after day, eventually he'll get to a higher level.
The 2012 Amgen Tour of California could finally be the race where talent and opportunity come together for Tom Danielson. Also riding for Team Garmin Barracuda is dangerous David Zabriskie, who has twice finished runner-up at this event, as well as rising star Andrew Talansky, who finished 2nd at the recent Tour of Romandy at the end of April. Big Bear Lake is back on the race route for Stage 6, presented by Visit California. On the heels of the demanding time trial the day before, this stage may prove decisive. Beginning in Palmdale, the cyclists will first summit Mount Emma, then Angeles Crest, before beginning their assault on the notorious Californian highways 138 and 18, concluding with an ascent to the finish at Snow Summit Ski Area at a merciless 7,000 feet. One confident young American cyclist is eyeing this stage on the map.
I have a good sprint for Big Bear. It's going to be kind of this select group, but, you know, the last time Peter Sagan won, which is a sprinter, and you know, not a normal sprinter. He's got a big engine, so he can make it over that stuff, but it's not going to be a true summit finish.
That's really going to separate the people who are there to win the race from the people who are there just to ride the race. It's going to make a lot of people really tired. And last time they did Big Bear, there were tons of guys time cut, so it's going to make it a real race.
As the peloton tackles extraordinary roads like these, Cliff Bar Meet the Moment will once again bring you exclusive perspectives at the 2012 Amgen Tour of California, with the return of the first ever onboard cameras featured during American cycling coverage. Make sure to tune in during each broadcast to experience what it feels like inside the peloton, with unheard of angles and first-person perspectives, unique to Cliff Bar Meet the Moment.
The high mountains of California could also bring opportunity for some of the other top international stars in attendance. Robert Hessig, who gave Levi Leipheimer all he could handle on Bonnie Doon in 2008. And Lawrence ten Dam, who also thrives when the roads turn up. Both from the Dutch Rabobank squad, as well as Luis Leon Sanchez, who has won 3 stages at the Tour de France during his career. New this year to the professional peloton is Orica Greenedge, Australia's cycling team, which includes young studs Cameron Meyer, winner of the Tour Down Under in 2011, Luke Durbridge, the Australian national time trial champion. Also watch out for the French AG2R La Mondiale team, which includes Rinaldo Nocentini, who wore the yellow jersey at the Tour de France for 8 days in 2009, and Christophe Riblon, who won a stage at the Tour in 2010. These foreigners will come to California hopeful to make their mark. Coming up, a preview of the massive Mount Baldy.
It's a little bit like Alpe d'Huez, I think. The last 5 kilometers are nasty.
Plus a look at those who seek the Nissan King of the Mountains jersey, when the 2012 Nissan Preview Show, presented by Visit California, continues.
The Epic Cycle Series continues with the Amgen Tour of California, where last year's winner Chris Horner defends his title in America's greatest race. Begins next Sunday at 5 on the NBC Sports Network.
Welcome back to the Nissan Preview Show, presented by Visit California. With mountains like these statewide, this year's Nissan King of the Mountain jersey, awarded to the race's best climber, is sure to be a contentious category. In 2011, Pat McCarty seized the King of the Mountains jersey. And this year, there are a number of riders expected to contend for this coveted prize. Rabobank's Robert Hessing from the Netherlands is back, and to say he can climb is an understatement. Aussie Rory Sutherland of the United Healthcare Pro Cycling Team. He showed his mettle on the Sierra Road last year. And Vincenzo Nibali, a former winner of the 2010 Vuelta a España. He can climb with the best in the world. Stage 7, presented by Nissan, takes the peloton from Ontario to Mount Baldy, and it's sure to be one of the most action-packed days of the entire race, as those in contention for the overall lead look now to eliminate each other with fierce attacks on 2 massive climbs. The first ascent begins right after the start in Ontario, as the riders climb to the summit of Glendora Ridge Road. And this is followed by a steep descent and an even more strength-sapping climb up to the peak of Mount Baldy, where the mountaintop finish may prove decisive.
Baldy's spectacular. When I first rode it and I did the first 2/3 of the climb, I thought it was not like everyone had told me it was. I didn't think it was very difficult. And then as I started the last third of the climb, then I realized what everybody was talking about. And it's really a key stage to win the Tour of California, for sure.
It's a long climb right out of the blocks, and it's hard and steep. I was worried about surviving this thing. Mount Baldy was probably the most difficult stage of the race for us.
We were just like, wow, this race is turning into something really big. You know, it didn't matter if you were first or 50th. They were just so excited to have the race coming through there.
It's a little bit like Alpe d'Huez, I think. The last 5 kilometers are nasty.
It's going to be another epic day, and it's going to be a big battle.
On stages like this one, every team will be hungry to make their mark, including the 4 dangerous UCI professional continental teams. Team Spidertech, powered by C10, will look to Pat McCarty, who won the King of the Mountains title at the Amgen Tour of California last year. United Healthcare Pro Cycling Team. They have Rory Sutherland, who finished 7th overall last year. Team Argus Shimano and its young sprinting sensation, Marcel Kittel. And Columbia Coldest Porters, which includes former teammate of Lance Armstrong, Victor Hugo Peña, noteworthy for his 3 days in the yellow jersey at the 2003 Tour de France. Coming up next, the final stage.
I already won a lot in cities like that. I won in London and Brussels and Paris. Maybe Los Angeles will be the new one.
And my predictions for the 2012 champion, when the 2012 Nissan Preview Show, presented by Visit California, continues. We have covered 12 of the 16 Amgen Tour of California teams so far. But the continental teams, with their wealth of rising talent and some dangerous veterans, are still to be accounted for, including Bissell Pro Cycling has American veterans Chris Baldwin and Ben Jacques Maines.
Tom Zerble rides for Team Optum, presented by Kelly Benefit Strategies. Sprinter Freddie Rodriguez is still going strong at 39. He leads Team Exergy. And then there is Lance Armstrong's development squad, Montrager Livestrong, and potential breakout star Lawson Craddock. And if the race route we have seen so far has inspired you to ride, you're in luck, as you have the chance to ride the race route before your two-wheel heroes get the chance for themselves. A brand new element of this year's event is sure to be not only a fan favourite, but likely adopted by the world's other biggest races. The Nissan Ride Before the Pros, taking place in downtown Los Angeles on Sunday, May 20th, 2012, from 8 to 9:30 a.m. This will allow cyclists of all levels to ride on a 5-mile closed circuit course, which will be part of the 2012 Amgen Tour of California's 8th and final stage, taking place just minutes later that same day. This special opportunity will be free to participants of all experience levels. Along the way, riders taking part in the event, which begins at LA Live in the shadows of Staples Center, will pass many of Los Angeles' iconic landmarks, with thousands of residents and fans lining the streets, cheering them on while waiting for the best professional riders in the world to pass by shortly thereafter, on the 8th and final stage of the 2012 Amgen Tour of California. Beginning on Rodeo Drive in bucolic Beverly Hills, Stage 8, presented by Amgen, will likely be a welcome respite for the peloton. It will also be a spectacular day for sightseers and cycling fans alike, as for a few hours, the cyclists will have many of Los Angeles' most famous streets to themselves, as they ride 42 miles en route to downtown Los Angeles' world-renowned sports and entertainment district, LA Live. Tom Boner, for one, would like a stage win in one of the world's greatest cities.
Yeah, I think it's fun. I already won a lot in cities like that. I won in London and Brussels and Paris. Maybe Los Angeles will be the new one. It's going to be very cool to ride in Los Angeles, I think.
Finishing circuit of California is in downtown LA, and they got to shut it down. I think it's going to be a pretty big event. There should be huge crowds. Could be exciting.
What a great city, what a great setting. In the years past, when we've done the time trial there, it was a really great turnout as far as the fans go, and I think it'd be a very exciting way to finish the Tour of California.
Cycling's predictions are often a foolish endeavour, but as we go to air, these are my picks to win the race's most prestigious jersey. For the Visit California Sprint jersey, following its impressive victories in the spring, Tom Boner garners my choice to wear green. He has looked nearly unbeatable. Nissan King of the Mountain, watch out for Italian Vincenzo Nibali of the Lupi Gas-Cannondale squad, who won the 2010 Vuelta a España. Peter Sagan won the points title last year, but this year I'm betting he reclaimed the Rabobank Best Young Rider jersey, which he last won in 2010. And if he can't succeed again in the mountains, Chris Horner looks ready once more to seize the Amgen race leader's yellow jersey. Of course, in cycling, the road determines the ultimate fate, so make sure to tune in as the greatest cyclists on earth set out on May the 13th to tackle the Golden State. Make sure to join me and my broadcast partners, Paul Sherwin and Bob Roll, the Amgen Tour of California, May 13th, live, right here on the NBC Sports Network. It's hard to imagine a place more suited for a world-class bike race than California. It's a state that has it all. And now, 7 years after its inception, the Golden State has proven time and time again why it's a magnet for world-class cycling talent. In addition to one of the best and toughest American riders, this year it will welcome not only the reigning champion and hottest rider on the planet, but also a myriad of Olympians, national champions and world champions, all in a quest for prizes worthy of the birth-state republic. Till May 13th, I'm Phil Liggett, and we'll see you then, when together we'll spend the next 8 days experiencing America's greatest race.